Welcome back to another episode of the Middle Class. Hope everybody's doing good out there that's listening in. And today we are going to talk about basically how we're going about goals this year, and not so much like New Year's resolution goals in general, and accomplishing the small ones and also the big ones, whether it's personable, family related, and etc. I think a lot of us struggle with staying on track. And also, when we accomplish something, it feels good. And being able to have a plan and execute is highly important. And I think people lack, even myself, lack the plan. They have the goal, but they don't have the plan. And without a plan, goals go unachievable sometimes. So, today we're just going to talk about some of that stuff, and we're going to talk about how Jake and I are going about some of the little ones and the big ones, and the tools that we learned along the path to where we are today to accomplish some of the things we have accomplished, and the tools that we use to accomplish those, and some of the tools that we're using now to accomplish things that are bigger. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the beginning of the year. We have a lot of people out there, having New Year's resolutions, which are usually I'm going to do this differently.
yeah.
And they're not SMART goals, and there's so many resources out there to learn about what a SMART goal is. I'm not going to go over it here, but you should have clear, concise, measurable goals to get you where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
Like putting a Lego set together, page by page by page.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you should attack your goals, right?
Yep.
You don't build a Millennium Falcon. Shout out Millennial Falcons. Your show was awesome. You don't build that just by figuring it out. Or you could, and it would take you a really long time, right? Or you could get a playbook put together step by step of what you need to do, section by section. And it's the same thing for your life, One tool that I've always used is it breaks it down by parts of your life, right? A lot of us, man, the new year comes around and we set this one goal or like one or two goals. Like I want to get in shape, or I want to run a marathon, and I want to make 120,000 this year. It's like, cool. Like, what about the rest of the parts of your life? What is your goal as a dad? What is your goal as a husband? What is your goal in your business? What is your goal at work? What is your fitness goal? What is your spiritual goal? You should have goals for all of those things.
That's right.
And they should correlate with each other. And I don't know if I broke this down on one of our other shows, but I always start off in each one of those categories with a goal, a life goal. And it's usually something I think about the ideal person that I was made to be.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like in this category? So for my fitness, what does the ideal version of Jake that was put on this earth look like?
Yeah.
Well, he's hard to kill.
Yeah.
So all my fitness goals revolve around being harder to kill. And that's, being harder to kill by other people, by bacteria, by animals, by diet, by disease. Doesn't matter. It's going to have a hard time killing me. Mm-hmm. So how do I need to build my body to be that resilient? And then I start working backwards. And I usually start with 1 year. Okay, by the end of this year, what could I do that's measurable that makes me more of this, makes me harder to kill? Yeah. And then that's when you start breaking down the time and you start having a more measurable goal. Mm-hmm. So that's my approach to laying out my goals. And it's a good way of also finding out which way your north is, right? You don't have to have this huge monumental goal yet.
Yeah.
But what does the perfect version of yourself look like? If you were to meet the perfectly financial version of AJ, what does he have? And for me, the perfectly financial part of Jake, he is financially free and financially secure from anything happening.
Yeah.
And that's it. Freedom and security. Freedom to do what I want, when I want, with my family, with whoever I want. And security in case something happens to me or my family, I know that I can take care of my shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's it. That's my goal. That's my financial lifetime goal. And everything I do, all my financial decisions, I make with that in mind. Mm-hmm. And I work backwards, starting with a yearly goal and a monthly goal and a weekly goal, and all the way down to a daily activity. Mm-hmm. What am I doing today that makes me more financially free and secure?
Yep. Setting minor daily goals is important too. So I work with a guy, his name's Ken Jones, and one of the few smartest people I've ever met in my life. And the guy just has this leadership about him, and he's always asking me, what are you doing today? What is your goal today for today? What are you doing to learn today? What is something you're going to focus on today that's something you enjoy? And that's his way of saying, this is a goal for you today. I want you to take a step and do it for 10, 30 minutes, whatever it takes. And I've grown to do that daily now. Like, what am I doing today? What is my goal for today? And that has helped me out tremendously to break down the big goal, break down the daily life in general, and not being so overwhelmed. And I was so overwhelmed when I took over the freedom role after my divorce. Kind of reflect on that because it is a life-changing thing. And you're going from comfort to now having a spouse to help you to now being on your own. And when life kind of throws a curveball at you, you're not always prepared for the best outcome. And you're not always prepared in general. And the goals that we had in mind and how we used to handle things with having someone to rely on is different. It comes down to you again. It's always going to be you from the beginning of life to the end of life. It's on you. And I try not to rely on myself, my goals, my passions on others anymore. And before hiring somebody helps, asking for help is sometimes needed. And you have to have boundaries and know your limits to say, I need help. I need to hire somebody to meet those goals and achievements. But as for me in my situation, like you said, financially, it comes down to what am I okay with? I would love to be wealthy and rich and to get on a plane every day of the week, just like everybody else, and live the high life. But I think for me, I'm just a simple man. I am content with taking home, 12, 15 grand a month for the rest of my life. I don't need much. And I know I don't need much. Do I go bougie on food? Do I like my fucking nice cars and nice things? Yeah, but I don't have a lot already. And realizing what you need, what you value, sets your wealth. It's not always money.
Yeah, absolutely. But like we were saying in a couple episodes ago, like money is still very important, and you need to pay attention to it, and you need to have goals for it, or else it'll just fall from your hands.
Exactly.
If you do not have financial goals. And a lot of people that are struggling, are broke, is because they don't set financial goals. Exactly. Whereas if you set a goal, let's say this year, your goal is to remove all consumer debt. That's credit cards, rewards cards, things like that. Not big debts like mortgages or even a car payment. If you have a large car payment, which you should only have the payment you can afford, right? Yeah. But let's say your goal is just to remove debt. Your habits for spending and even making money are going to be completely different if you have that goal. Exactly. And you work towards it, as opposed to just money is just part of life, and it's just, it's whatever. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. It's like, no, you need to be purposeful of it. And it's the same thing with health. Yeah. If you don't have a health goal, you're going to end up just being like, oh, I'm good. I'm just going to sit on the couch, or I'm going to eat fast food 4 times a week.
Exactly. Because money comes and goes. Yep. You might not always bring in what you make now.
Yep. And everything does.
Exactly. And where, like me, I know that's where I want to be in the future. And my goal is, like you just said, like my minor debts. What are my minor debts? They hang over people. They build interest. They wear on you. And it's like, oh, I need to pay that student loan off. I need to pay, I need to pay my credit card payment that I haven't paid. I need to pay that doctor that I went and saw 4 months ago. It's like, those are the little things. And the things that I've done, because I have maxed out a credit card that was $30,000 chasing a dream. I have put myself there and dug myself out of a hole. And it is so just weighing on you. And to ask for help to how can I make more money? Where can I make more money? And how can I accumulate this debt so I'm not paying so much interest across, 5 things. And I learned a lot of that in my younger years. I made a lot of mistake trying to do big things with no money.
Yeah.
And if people just realize, look back, this for a financial side of this conversation is set back. What do you want for yourself? Where do you want to be? How much money are you making and what would you be happy with? And what debts can you pay off in a timely manner? And a good example I'm doing now is I'm already paying on my debts, but now I'm taking it up a next level because I've accomplished taking some of my minor debts. Now I'm saying, okay, I'm going to take 30% off of the top of what I have left from savings and debts and set that aside. And whatever's left at the side is just going to go right on to the next one, the next debt. So it's like, wow, I just put a lump sum down. But to me, it's a bigger accomplishment because now I know I can go without. I've tested myself. I can hang out here at home. I can go without going to the coffee shop every day. I can
make my own food.
Exactly. And it shows. You start learning something about yourself when it comes down to money. People start learning about themselves when they have to put themselves in a hard situation and not do the same thing for their daily contentment in their daily lives that brings them some simple joys like a hot cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's amazing how motivation and discipline changes whether someone has to do something or if it's something that they just want to do.
Yeah.
With money, same thing with fitness. Coming from a military background, you had no choice but to work out every day. You had PT first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. It was part of your job. You didn't have a say. You were up at 6, 6:30, 5:30, whenever, and you were working out before breakfast every day. You didn't have a choice. And did you do it? Absolutely. You did it every day.
Yeah.
And then I see it all too often. Guys get out and they're like, I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. And 5 years later, they're like, fuck, like I'm having health issues. I'm bigger. Like I'm slower. Like I feel like shit. And cause that was me, I gained like 20, 25 pounds in the first few years after getting out of the military. And I realized that I need to be setting goals because goals are nothing more than just desired outcomes that you use to plan, right? So my desired outcome is to be hard to kill. Right now, I'm a big softy that is sick all the time and overweight and all that. Like it would take one major disease to knock me on my ass or kill me. Yeah. I'm not very hard to kill. So like, what do I need to do to get better? And then same thing with finances. Like I'm fucking broke right now, and like you get really good at minding your P's and Q's when you're broke.
Yeah.
Right. It's really hard to mind your P's and Q's when you got some money in the bank.
That's right.
It's really hard to maintain that discipline of like, dude, I got money in the bank. I can go get myself lunch. It's not that big of a deal.
Yep.
And to have that discipline to go, no, there's a reason you're doing this. And you need to get back into that space of like, I don't have a choice but to do it. And if you don't have that kind of that discipline around your goals, it's sad to say, but they may never come to fruition. You have to be obsessed with it. And
you do have to be obsessed. That's right.
And a lot of people, they pick the wrong goals.
They do.
They set this goal that they either heard somebody else say, and they're like, oh, that sounds good. I'll do that. Like, that's a great goal. And they're not bought into it. You're not going to put yourself in discomfort and do the things that you have to do for something that you're not 100% bought into.
Exactly. And it's, again, a good example for this conversation is New Year's resolution. Everybody goes to the gym. You look at the gym in January, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And
there's
half
not a
those
single
people
bench open.
After first quarter, stop going.
The sun starts coming out. People start making excuses like, oh, I did so good the last couple months. I'm down 10 pounds. Like I can let up.
Yep. And I think that people also, like goes along with that saying that you just did, is that we're influenced by other people's actions. They think it's cool that Jake's going to the gym. Jake's going to, learn a fighting skill, hand-to-hand combat class. And I'm going to fucking go do that. I'm going to go learn how to fight hand-to-hand combat. Then you go, it's like, this ain't for fucking me.
Yeah. And that's okay. If it's not for you, it's not your goal.
Nope.
Everybody's is going to be different. So goals are one of those fickle things, man, to where you feel like you have to have the perfect one before you can act on it.
Exactly.
It's like, dude, my goals have changed halfway through the year. Like either I attained my goal way quicker than I thought I would, and now I have to come up with another one, or I got halfway down this road and realized this isn't actually what I wanted for my life. This wasn't the right course of action, and had to change it. And that's okay. You don't need to have the perfect goal in mind just to get started.
Yep.
Any sort of desired outcome that you can measure and build a plan towards is a good goal.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you find out halfway across or halfway through that you need to change course.
Yeah. And I think a note to think on that would be a good one to relate to it. How I'm saying this is that don't ask someone to do something with you and expect them to give 100% or expect them to be as excited, because one, they might have never done it. Two, they might like that sport or that topic or that hobby, but they're not their goal. That's not their goal.
Yeah.
And if it is that their goal, it probably won't be until they actually put some time into it. You know, men, they are going to see, oh, well, my goal is in this subject, but not that particular goal.
Yeah.
But people have to try, but don't ask and expect, don't hold expectations when someone says yes to you to go along that journey. And I think I see that happen a lot every year. And I'm false of it for like last year, like getting someone crazy enough to go on these fucking climbs with me. My dad was like, dude, that's not his goal. Like, you're going to have a hard time. And luckily enough, my brother was like crazy enough as me to go with me. But that's a good example. Is when he said, my dad said it to me, I was like, damn, that's a good point. Actually, like, people do ask and people do hold expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great leadership lesson. Like if you're in charge of people and you're in charge of a program or an organization or a group of people, most of the time you're going to have a result dictated to you by whatever higher up there is, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna be given a measurable task that needs to be done as a project manager, as a manager of people. Like, this is your responsibility. Here's your team to do it, you know? And when you're looking at your team and you're talking to them about your goals as a team, if your team doesn't have that buy-in, if they don't fully believe in this goal of, okay, we're going to do this project, we're going to do it, you know, we're going to work this much every week. These are everybody's roles. This is how much we're spending on it. This is how much we're planning on making. And if everybody's not 100% bought in to that group goal, you're going to have that. You're going to have people that are like, well, whatever. Or, you know, they're going to come in, they're going to do the bare minimum. And you're going to, you know, you can't, as a leader or even as a business owner with employees, you cannot expect them to care about your goals as much as you do.
Exactly.
It just won't happen. It's not their goals. All you can do is try to get as much buy-in as possible and let them see why they should follow you and accomplish this and how it benefits them.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. That's why, like I tell the kids, if you say you're going to do something, show me.
Exactly. And if you're going to be a leader of people, being able to set up goals and set up plans to reach those goals and milestones and habits and activities to get there is crucial. Like you will not make it far as a leader without this skill. And a lot of us in this age, you know, in our 30s with kids and stuff like that, we're stepping into more and more leadership roles where we're in charge of not only our outcomes, but the people underneath us. Mm-hmm. And it changes everything, man. Like, they need to be 100% bought in. Yeah. Or it's just not going to work.
I think when the bigger picture, for a reminder for people, like you said, like being hard to kill and in all aspects, from finances, personal health, spirituality, relationship, it all plays a part in the overall outcome for any goal, any achievement that you want to go do or have in your life. Because I personally know that when I lost my job on the slope for a temporary time, when everybody did up there, life got hard. I got really depressed. I didn't feel like I had like much of a purpose. I didn't feel needed anymore. I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything. I wasn't feeling grace. I wasn't feeling support in a sense. And then life got even harder. You know, I got chased my dream. I put my family in debt. And then I just started gaining weight. I started getting sick. I started getting hurt. My body wasn't reacting. I fell, 14 feet off a truss trailer and got hurt even more. And my body did not recover like it once did. And then I had to step back and look at my life. Where and how can I change? How can I get better? How can I get out of the situation? What do I need to do? And that's when everything changed. And once I started focusing on all those things, spirituality, health, my relationships, my work life, and money, and like breaking every single one down, I started having a better health. I stopped getting sick so much. I started recovering better. And then on top of it, like I saw like professional help to get healthy. I wanted to make sure like I had the right vitamins in my body. I wanted to make sure like my kidneys were okay and everything else that determines like your mood, your sleep, everything. And I think that's one people that goes overseen probably for a lot of people. They don't think that maybe there's something wrong with my body, not just my thought, my process, my brain. Yeah. And I think that starting there is an easy step, especially if you have healthcare. What's it going to cost you to see a general doctor for them to draw some blood and tell you that, you need some more vitamin D, you need some vitamin C, or you're low here, or it's your thyroid, or
it's hard like to get set on a path of where you want to go until you know where you are first.
Exactly it. And then once you start accomplishing those things, you start realizing like you're getting excited. Now things are happening. You start losing weight. You feel better about yourself and your personal health, your look. Now you feel confident in yourself. Now you feel even more joyful and confident to start achieving the next thing. If you start feeling happy and joyful and confident, the next thing's going to happen. The next thing's going to happen. And it's all going to roll downhill to a better place.
Yeah. And I found that like all of your goals, it seems like a lot when you have all these different categories. Yeah. Like you have to go through all these different blocks and you have to do all these things. But really, they're more interconnected than you think. Mm-hmm. Let's just take physical. If you wanted to lose 50 pounds this year, what are some things you're probably going to do?
You're probably going to go to the gym.
You're going to go to the gym. Okay. What are some things you're going to not do maybe?
I probably would stop drinking so much Pepsi.
Yeah. So you're going to stop eating out,
yeah,
which is very expensive. Your grocery bills are going to look completely different. You're not going to have so many like snacks and treats and lickies and chewies and all that. You're going to be working out.
Yeah.
And what do you think those things are going to do to your finances?
You're going to save more.
You're going to save money. You're at work. You have a work goal of getting a promotion, getting up to the next rung. If you are showing up every day, feeling good, healthier, spending less money, more productive, you're probably going to hit that goal a little quicker too.
Yeah.
And then same thing if you focus on just financials. Like, okay, we're broke. We need to start saving money. Where are we spending money all the time? Well, we eat out. We're drinking too much. We're doing all this, buying too much weed, alcohol, and all this stuff. You cut all that out that you don't need.
It's amazing how much money you're going to save.
You're going to save all this money, and you're going to accidentally push yourself towards your physical goals as well, and your spiritual goals. Because when you're feeling better and you're in a better mood, you're more open to connection and that side of you. And also, you're going to have more energy, which means your parenting goals are going to, they're going to come up. Like a rising tide raises all ships.
That's right.
So don't feel overwhelmed that you have to hit the check boxes on every single category all the time. Like even if you just focus for the next 2 months on this one, it's going to pull the others with it. And that's the beauty of having goals is it's doing life on purpose instead of having life happen to you.
Yeah. Because once I start like getting the motivation, I see the simple accomplishments and I see where I'm heading and I'm excited. Like I see, like I lost weight after I started doing, things started happening for me. I saw a doctor, et cetera. Like I lost 50 pounds. I was 200 pounds and I was like not happening anymore. Then I chased the next thing, which is my finances. Like I got a new job. Like things just changed for the better when it was shit. And you just go downhill. And I started like, again, like that reel is like live your life as if someone's following you with the camera. In reality, how would you want to live your life? And I was like, wow, it's so fucking true. And since then, like the last 2 years, which is me, is like, I'm going to do everything I've always wanted to do. I've always done what I wanted to do, but I've never done it in like the timely manner. I've always waited for the right time. There is no fucking right time for anything. You want something, go for it. You want to chase something, what's holding you back? Nothing. You are.
Yeah, you're holding yourself back.
And people think they need the best, this and that, or they can't accomplish anything. And that's not the case. You are your own worst enemy and you are holding yourself back. It's not your mom and dad. It's not your spouse. It's not your kids. They're going to still be there. You might get a divorce. Fuck it. There's somebody else. But again, it's still left to you. You still have things. You still have people to care about you. It's down to you to pull the trigger and take the next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can have the perfect goal on paper, the perfect plan to make it happen. If you don't put action to it, you wasted all that time.
Yeah.
And it's the two parts of it, right? Like, you don't have to have the perfect goal, the perfect plan. If you start moving in the right direction, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get better. Inversely, you can't spend all this time on a perfect plan and be like, hell yeah, and then not act on it.
Yeah.
It takes both. You have to have a plan and you have to have the discipline to stay behind it. And especially when things start going right.
Yeah.
That has always been my enemy. My enemy has always been good enough.
Yep.
I always let up when I start feeling like I did good enough.
Exactly.
When, in my business, I start hustling, grinding, getting a bunch of business going, and I, start hitting my capacity, and it's like, okay, I'm good enough. I can let up and stuff like that. And then what happens in real estate? All that stuff ends up closing out, and you go through a drought because you stopped.
Going through everything.
You quit pumping. And same thing with physical health. You hit it real hard after New Year's. You lose 10 pounds. You're feeling great, or even all the way up until summer. Then summer hits. You start drinking again. You're out. You're busy as heck. You start putting gym on the backside because you're good. You're good enough now.
Yeah.
You did it. And that's always been my enemy. And that's something that I'm actively working on this year is like, no, I have to stay in that position of I have no choice but to do it, even when I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Even when I'm making a shit ton of money, I need to stick to my budget. Yeah. Even when I'm feeling healthy as hell and getting stronger and faster, I need to keep going to the gym. It can't not stop at good enough. And that's always been my enemy.
You don't count on people to hold you accountable either. As much as, like, for instance, you and I and Jake hold each other accountable and we try to call each other out, which is great. People need it. They need to be fucking called out.
Yeah.
They need a good reminder. Hey, last month you said you were fucking doing that. Where you at on it? A simple reminder of like, yeah, it's an asshole move, but it's a good asshole thing to say.
Oh, God, I've learned over the last, I hated when people held me accountable to shit. Now I've realized having an accountability partner is worth their weight in gold.
Yep.
In fucking gold.
Yep.
Especially for me, man.
Exactly. Exactly. It's totally worth the weight in gold. And with that, I think that I want to remind people, like we said in the last episode, I don't want you guys to think that we're contradicting ourselves by saying if you put your time into setting a plan and don't take action, that it's not okay. Like, take time to evaluate an idea, a business plan. Is it valuable for you to keep going into it? No, sometimes you need to set back, do the effort, put in the time to see where your cost of goods are going. Is this a good investment to make? Is this worth my time to study this book and take this test to get this certification? Is it going to be valuable? And studying and making a plan and researching that, spending time on that is okay. But again, if the numbers are there, if the possibility of you getting that job because of that one certification is there and it's scary, then again, that's on you to pull that trigger. You don't have to. Did you waste that time? No, you try to figure it out to see if it was worth more time. So don't look at it like you wasted time. You know the plan. You know it's there. Put it on the back burner. Put it on the shelf. That business plan might be ready for you next year.
Yeah.
That certification might be ready when you get that new truck to get that welding certification. Now you could be your own solo welder,
Yeah, you really have to look at it and face yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, am I tweaking this plan or am I doing all this just to avoid starting, like to avoid the work?
Yeah.
Or is this really like something I need to dive deeper into?
Exactly.
So because you'll find yourself diving deeper and deeper and deeper into like, okay, is this the right move? What do I need to do? What does it look like? And you'll find yourself like, okay, it's time to go. And then be like, well, hold on, I need to look into this first. Yeah, I may have overlooked that. It's like, no, you need to know when it's time to go and when you have enough information. Because like I said, a goal without action is worthless.
Yeah. And the things that I always look at too is for people that have like multiple hobbies or multiple hustles. A good example for me, like the 3D printing, that I do and the money I've invested into it is like, I have to see a return on that. I have to get either break even on buying the stuff or one, how is learning this new skill going to educate me in my job or in the future? And I take that thought process with not just that, but with everything I do. And with like building a website, building a new website for myself, is this going to be worth it? Is me buying a new computer going to be worth it too? Is it going to better me in a sense with my goals? And knowing how to spend your time, your money, and where it's being put to help you achieve those things in your goals is highly important. And I think that if people just start with the small things, even with better sleep, a lot of us don't realize like the sleep is highly important. Not everybody's a morning person, and having a routine, setting a schedule for people don't like change. People aren't morning people, and I guarantee it. Like you see all these, actors and athletes and everything else, they're up 4 a.m.
Yep.
And like Goggins said again, I just got done watching a documentary about him. That's why I keep on referencing him, is that he mentioned that, him getting up 4 a.m., 3 a.m., he's getting another day out of the day.
Yeah.
I'm doing twice as much work. And since I started doing that, I've been able to accomplish so much stuff, man. And staying up late, giving up time, sacrificing a little bit of sleep for the now to get sleep later on.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man, you got to take everything into account, but doing little things, doing something is better than doing nothing.
exactly.
It's taking the little steps. You don't have to have a perfect plan, but it does make it a lot easier when you have a well laid out plan that you are 100% bought into. Because then it's you're sending yourself into basic training, and you're your own drill sergeant.
Yep.
You have no choice. This is the schedule today.
Yeah. I think how do you think people are getting drawn off of their goals? And I think a lot of people get drawn off their goals is by. I'm going to ask you the same, and I want to know what you're going to say to this, but I personally think people get drawn off by their goals by being distracted. By hearing a response, by me opening my fat mouth and saying my goal to somebody else and not hearing a negative response, not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
I always tell people, don't tell people your excitement things in your life if you're not willing to hear what they have to say in return, because they might not be excited and it might not be a positive thing that comes out of that person's mouth.
Yeah. Well, then to me, you're just discovering more about that person. We're like, well, wow, I thought that person was my friend, or like, or a coworker, and you're like, well, I guess fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And that's a good indicator of who that person is in your life. Yeah. Right. So it may not be a bad thing to tell people, because then it reveals who they are to you. Mm-hmm. If you reveal your goals to me, you already know I'm going to be like, fuck yeah. What's the plan?
Yeah.
What are you doing about it? Whereas you could reveal it to somebody up at your work and they could be like, oh, that's fucking stupid. Why would you want to do that when you can do this?
So I think those two things, and I think another thing is comparison. We compare ourselves too much, and I know I'm bad at that. And like, for instance, this first week home, I didn't do shit. I was couch locked, just downhill. And I say that out loud because I want people to know, like, just because these people say they're doing all this stuff, they're getting up every day at 4 a.m. and getting an extra day in. I do those things. I didn't do it the first week home. So, and I guarantee it, they're not either. So don't believe what everybody says on the fucking Instagram or social media, or think that, some of these basketball players like Conan O'Brien got up every fucking day,
Yeah. I mean, they definitely built up to that. Right. And that's the thing that I'm fighting, is the good enough. Like I'll be like, especially when shit's tight or when things are hard, I'm like, okay, let's get after it. And I put myself in that position of like, I have to go. I have no choice. And that was like I was explaining my journey into real estate.
Yep.
Like I had no choice. Back against the wall. I have to make it, or, people will suffer.
Yeah.
And having that attitude, even when things are going good, is very hard. It's very, very hard to be like, no, I'm eating chicken, rice, and broccoli, even though I'm down 35 pounds and just ran a half marathon and in like the best shape of my life. Mm-hmm. It's really easy to justify, like, dude, I'm good. Like I think I've earned a cheeseburger, and being like, no. And it's a struggle for sure, man. And I still, like I said, I still fight that every day. But it's this time of year when I'm reviewing everything, what I want to accomplish for the year. That's, when I get that motivation of like, okay, I'm bought into it. And if I'm not bought into it, I'm going to have to make some adjustments.
Yeah. And I think
know?
this is the first year where, to wrap this up, is that we're looking at everything, like you're saying, everything across the board, from health to cash and everything in between. And how, to remind everybody again listening, is that everything will fold into the next page. Everything is related. Everything was going to affect the next thing, from health to finances to relationship. Just give it time. You're going to see how, like your example of going to the gym, you're going to spend less money. You're going to eat different foods. You're going to spend, it's all going to save up. Thing at work, you're going to spend more time studying that job. You're going to spend more time moving up the ladder because you're putting in the effort now. And before you know it, you're going to have that promotion. And then realizing as well is that it's you at the end of the day, but it's important to have someone to call you out on your shit. And I think to reflect on us, this is the first year where we've all, again, I think I could speak for Will, even though he's not here, is saying that we've all accommodated ourselves to sit down, look at what we got going on for our families and as ourselves individuals, for our goals and our family goals and where we want to be next year, and where we went wrong and what we're going to do better this year. And I can say holding each other, we've all hold each other accountable, and then as well as setting a plan, saying that I need help in this area. I would think in our friendship and in general, this is the first year where I've said, no, I need help. I can't do everything on my own. I can do those things, but I'm going to get a better result by having help.
Yeah.
And also not having accountability, but consistency. We're holding each other accountable, sitting down, recording a show. We're holding each other accountable by sitting down and setting a day out of the week where we schedule everything to go out.
Yep.
And taking that has now folded into my clients. I schedule everything out. I set a day for them once a week. Nope. This is for Empire. This is my 2 hours for them. I'm scheduling everything out. And it folds into the next thing. Yep. It all pays out. Now I have time for my kids. I have time to work on another project.
Yeah.
It all connects to each other.
And because we are doing this and we're both bought into it and we have this goal, and we have obviously this shared goal, but we also have our own individual goals.
Yeah.
And we tell each other what our goals are, and we don't have that response of like, oh, that's stupid. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's a stupid goal. I'm not going to tell you that, hiking 6 days across the Alaska range on a trail that's never been done before. I'm not going to tell you that, oh, that's fucking stupid. Like you're dumb. You've only been doing this for like a year.
Yeah.
Like, come on, leave that to the experienced guys. Like, you're never going to hear me say that. And because we have that understanding around goals,
mm-hmm.
relationship goals are also very important.
Yeah.
Like, you should have goals for friends. Like,
mm-hmm.
what do I want my relationships to look like in this life? Like, aside from the relationship with your kids and your significant other, like, as a relational person, who do I want to be?
Yeah.
And if you're doing the steps to get better at all these other things, the people that stick around through that are going to build that part of your life so much better. Like, your friends are going to get better.
Yeah.
If you actually have them in your corner for your goals. And if you're getting after it and they see you getting after it, the real friends are going to cheer you on, if not come with you.
Yeah.
And your circle of friends is going to look better than it did a year ago.
Exactly. It's surrounding yourself, even the environment that you work in, is going to change who you are as a person. We tend to mold ourselves into what's around us. And if you're in a negative environment, or you're hanging out with people going to the bar every fucking weekend, or wanting to work in that type of environment, you're going to be stuck there. You're going to be living a life. You're not going to be getting sleep, your alcohol and everything else. That's just one example. But again, surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals or people in the shoes that you want to be in the next year goes a long ways. I can't agree with that more than enough, or tell people more than enough about it. It's like, man, I understand you got to work there, or this is your current situation, but you can get out of it, and you can do this if you just write it out, take the next step, kiss ass, get by, eat shit, and fucking make your moves and go. People are so stuck in I can't fucking do this. That's not the case. You are harder on yourself than anybody else. And we are owners for Cindy. When you have someone accountable, like for you guys with me, I tell you this, I'm fucking hiking this mountain. I'm hoping to summit this one that's never been done. I'm hoping to make a trail for myself and traverse. You guys cheer me on. Or like, well, what are you doing to do that?
Yeah.
Have you prepared? Have you studied? Like, you always ask me, well, what are you doing this week to do that? Or what have you done studying wise or training wise to do that? Well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing currently. Like, you guys ask questions. You guys never put me down. And I guarantee you, those people listening there, if you were to tell someone excited, I guarantee it, either A, they're going to say, oh, wow, that's really cool, and be excited. The conversation is going to get turned on them.
Yeah.
Not you. And then, or you tell people bad news, it's going to get turned into, well, this is what I did. Now it's about them.
Yeah.
You tell the right people, it's going to stay about you. They're going to be excited about you and ask you questions about you or the topic they're excited about. And that shows, like, one, that they're genuine, that they actually care, and they're actually interested in what you're doing, even though they don't support it.
Yeah. And the friends you're going to make while you're making shit happen. Like, going to the gym every day, you're going to see the same people that are in the same mindset as you. And you're going to end up talking to them at some point and being like, what are you up to this year? Like, what's your goal? Like, oh, I want to get up to like a 505 squat or whatever. And then next thing you know, you have a gym buddy.
Yeah.
Or,
try new things. You're going to find new people to hang out with.
Yeah. Because they understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing. And that's why a lot of people, you know, especially with business, you know, because we talk about business a lot too. If you are doing the work and you run into people, other business people, they're going to see that and they're going to be like, oh, this fucker's for real. Like, he's, you know, waking up early. He's getting shit done. He's doing shit on purpose. And I know that if I worked with him, that's how he's going to work. That's how he's going to run his business. He's going to make sure shit gets done on time and he's disciplined. And it's crazy that, like I said, one goal is going to end up translating to many others. And it's just a rising tide raises all ships, man.
Exactly.
So I would guess, to wrap it up, have a plan. It doesn't need to be perfect, and stay in it as if you had no choice.
Exactly.
And that's
as if someone was filming you, just like Joe Rogan said.
Yeah. And this is mostly me just speaking to it into existence for myself, because my own worst enemy is good enough. As soon as I feel like I'm doing good enough, I quit. So this is me holding myself accountable on film, saying, don't be a little bitch. Keep going.
That's right. All right, guys. Thank you for listening.
All right. Take care, guys.